So I realized why I wanted to film this video while I was filming it, but I wanted to keep the organic flow of the original filming much as possible, so bear with me. I just realized I changed into this with the window open, and I probably shouldn't have done that. I am not in my usual space today because I feel like this is a pretty casual topic, casual video, so I didn't really want to go into the whole academic, bookshelf, literal library field setting. I wanted to be more comfortable. This is something kind of new that I'm trying. I see people do it all the time. I really don't know how they make it entertaining or why people even find this entertaining in the first place, but I'm gonna be trying the whole like get ready while I word vomit at you. The only thing I'm getting ready for is this video, so wow, this is really hard. I don't know how people do this. Ow, this is hard. I don't think I can do this. The Met Gala is a topic that's been circulating around a lot in my Instagram, YouTube. Those are the only channels that I really use. Honestly, at first I was gonna like do a lot of research for this video because I feel like I don't know enough about the Met Gala historically to really talk about it in depth. But then I was like, if it's just kind of my own opinions, I feel like, well, this is pretty doable. For those of you who don't really know what the heck the Met Gala is, I knew about it because, as we know, the Instagram algorithm loves to target me with ads from very specific venues. The Met Gala is definitely one of those things where I would not have known about it if I hadn't been targeted. Thank you very much. But for a brief rundown in terms of what exactly it's about, the Met Gala was formerly called the Costume Institute Gala, or the Costume Institute Benefit, annual fundraising gala, hence the name. It's meant to benefit the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute, which, as some of you might know, is the biggest museum slash art exhibition in New York City. So basically, it is supposed to be an event that not only funds the exhibit, but also acts as a opening event. Like, you know, when you have a famous... This is really hard. I don't know how people do this, honestly. Kind of like, you know, when you have a really famous artist and they need someone that's like slightly less famous but still pretty popular to open their show for them. But sometimes the opening act is more popular or more famous than the actual act, which is kind of like what's happening here. The Met Gala in itself is not supposed to be the main act of this event. It's supposed to kind of set the stage or advertise the actual Met fashion exhibit. All those cool outfits you see and the theme, which every Met Gala has a theme, the theme is supposed to be actually for the exhibit itself. And for the fashion history buffs, it's like a huge artistic event. It's considered in that arena to be a cultural monument. Ow, this is hard. I don't think I can do this. I think I can do the makeup, but I don't think I can do my hair while I'm filming this video. I think the main reason I realized I needed to talk about the Met Gala in terms of their theme specifically is because the Met Gala traditionally is not really a mainstream event. Historically, it was sort of known more like a very exclusive celebrity event. And while it still is in terms of the people who are attending, because of the rise of social media, it's become a lot more popularized in mainstream media. And so a lot of people know about it and hear about it and they see the fashion. And yes, it's true that you can just appreciate the fashion as it is, the same way that I do, without knowing a lot of the background in terms of the designers or the context or how it fits into the theme. If you really think about it, the whole idea falls under this theory by a guy named Pierre Bourdieu, a French sociologist who coined this term called cultural capital. And basically the idea is that your social standing dictates your taste in culture in terms of like arts, entertainment, what's considered high culture and low culture. I think my biggest, not issue, but like thing that makes me a little bit uncomfy slash feel like I have to think a little bit deeper about the Met Gala is that it's an event that really is only catered towards those with enough education and background to understand the cultural references that are put into these outfits. If you don't know anything about fashion designers, because a lot of themes are actually based off of certain designers, or if you don't know the cultural references, like for example, China Through the Looking Glass, a very culturally specific theme where if you don't know these certain references, you're gonna be like, how is this outfit related to China? Because a general sort of mainstream understanding of this culture depicted in media is very cliched. All that in short to say, the Met Gala is an event that is very highly streamlined towards a upper middle class society, that kind of audience. And in order to truly appreciate this event and to understand the outfits and how they're connected to the theme, you have to have access to that knowledge. Now, of course, the good news is because of social media and because of with all the interviews and the behind the scenes stuff, now you can really understand how the looks are linked to the themes. But I think before it was a little bit harder for the mainstream audience to know. Before it wasn't really catered towards a mainstream audience anyways. So that's kind of like my spiel. But I just had this revelation. Now I know exactly why I wanted to talk about the Met Gala. Basically, in his language, your knowledge of culture is something that you can use as both a status symbol and something that continues to legitimatize your social standing within that society. And the main way I'm really going to be talking about this with the Met Gala is how its themes and the way that they interpret the themes with their looks is a demonstration of basically how you have to have this understanding of high culture, or at least some level of access to it, in order for you to fully appreciate it. So it's really not an event until very recent years that's been catered towards the mainstream audience. So the 2015 Met Gala is titled China Through the Looking Glass, and the potential problem with this theme is one of the most obvious. It can be so easy for this to become cultural appropriation, and yet at the same time, because it's so confined to this limited view of this culture, like I mentioned before, and I think this restraint actually prevented people from being really creative with the theme as well. Just because maybe they were afraid of offending anyone, people played it a lot more safe, which kind of makes sense because if you're just going to label a theme after a country, how far can you really go before you start needing some much more in-depth cultural knowledge and background? And this was really depicted in a lot of the looks, which is why I don't have much to say about them, even though, yeah, some of them look nice, like they're aesthetically pleasing, but a lot of them just kind of slapped on things like red and gold, certain patterns and embroideries. And this one just kind of did a modern Hollywood take on a very traditional red Chinese dress. Like, we've seen this dress in media hundreds of times. And even though it all looks really beautiful, I think just the title itself, Through the Looking Glass, immediately conjures that image of what I talked about in Edward Said's Orientalism, that whole idea of viewing the East through this exotifying lens. And I really don't see how this event, this theme, is doing anything different with that, but I don't really know enough about that to make a comment, so if you have any opinions on exactly how we should view this sort of event, you can let me know in the comments below. Now, the 2016 Met Gala, I found this theme actually really interesting. Manus and machina, fashion in an age of technology. Technology as a theme in fashion is really interesting and something that definitely resonates with a modern day audience. And this is sort of when social media was beginning to play a bigger part in the celebrity world, as well as bringing these events to a mainstream audience. So I'm excited to see what kind of looks that they had. And I can see how this theme could actually be interpreted in a lot of different ways because, you know, technology has many different offsprings. Like, for example, dresses made of recycled materials using technology to create the garment. So I think that's a pretty clever way of interpreting the theme. It doesn't all have to be like silver techno. Like this dress, I don't really know what it's made of, but I'm guessing the way that they sort of printed this pattern involved a kind of modern technology. This, again, that's not like an obvious reference, but I do think that there was a lot of room for different kinds of interpretation. I really like the sculptural aspect of this. I love the socks, long knee socks that they put on her, and the textures and the materials and the contrasting materials that are both kind of soft and playful. I really like when designers do things like this. I think this is definitely an era when the Met Gala is starting to become less of a traditional red carpet event, more something that actually showcases art and fashion in a high fashion, avant-garde sort of way. And I really enjoyed this look a lot. I think that it truly exemplifies what the Met Institute stands for. And again, I just love sculptural looks like this. I just think she looks incredible. I think the color goes really well with her skin tone and her hair looks really nice. I'm glad that they're taking more artistic stances to this event, like even this garment. I like how this takes a modern sort of techno approach to a gown that does look like it can be inspired by like medieval. It like modernizes the corset and this sort of silk slip bias dress that was very popular in the 20th century. I think this could be like a red carpet version, techno 90s Matrix meets The Great Gatsby, like the flapper style. I think it's super chic. I really like what they did with it. I think it's really creative. I can really see how this theme could have have gone like very Matrix, but I'm glad that a lot of people didn't necessarily just veer into that. The looks should never blend in with the background. Although now you can see from the pictures that the actual venue and the backdrops are actually getting brighter and lighter in color, offering a little bit more contrast and a little bit more room for the celebrities to like dress in different colors and actually stand out. Because if you notice, the previous Met Gala, the lighting was a lot dimmer. It had this sort of gold finish that wasn't really flattering. Like, I just don't think gold as a background is very flattering and works with a lot of different colors. But this, because there's like the white tents and the beigey sort of elements next to the red carpet, it's not just a pure red carpet, which I guess sort of like visually symbolizes that this event is becoming less of a traditional red carpet Hollywood exclusive event and more of something that's accessible by a mainstream audience. I just really love a lot of the looks from this year's gala. So now we can see here in 2017 that the whole designer collaboration theme is pretty common for the Met Gala. This one is a collaboration between Kawakubo and Comme des Garçons. Sorry if I pronounce any of that wrong. And it's called Art of the In-Between. And this theme to me is still pretty vague. I feel like you would need a little explanation as to what it exactly means. But also I like that it can be kind of more widely interpreted. So again, I think this is an example of a theme that you would kind of have to understand and do the research about the designer. For example, I just found out that designer is actually the founder of Comme des Garçons, so there's actually no collaboration at all. Seeing a little bit of the designer's works, the artistry, and the color palettes, I can see where the inspirations came from. I was hoping to see a lot of like kooky colors, some fun prints, and there's a lot of black in here. Like, I think I want to see a lot more contrast and pops. I mean, red definitely, like, this is a huge inspiration from her runway shows. She just kind of looks like she fits the theme. I can't tell if it's because she looks like one of her models. I like this suit because of the contrast between the black and white, and I think that exemplifies Comme des Garçons pretty well. And I like that it's incorporated into the shoes as well. Overall, like, I like the looks, but I think because the theme is a little bit vague or more difficult for the mainstream audience to understand, it's a little bit harder to judge. But I do like some of these outfits. It's not like too outlandish. Oh, I really like this. Yeah, I really like the sculptural layers on the intricate details on this dress. Wow, this is fantastic. And I've never seen an ivory or like white piece where you can really see the details so well. There's so many different visual elements at play here that like really makes this, wow, this is a fine piece of work. Okay, so this, the 2018 Heavenly Bodies Met Gala was probably the most controversial in terms of the themes, and you can kind of see why. It's called Fashion and the Catholic Imagination. So they actually had like not endorsement, but like support from the Catholic Church for this, and they actually like received a lot of pieces. Obviously, there was a lot of religious iconography. This theme, I can see why it could be problematic, even though like I think some of the pieces are really beautiful. I genuinely feel like religious appropriation should also be a term that we use the same way as cultural appropriation. Like, if we're gonna respect a certain culture and its traditions, why wouldn't we do that for a religion as well? I just don't see why the same rules don't apply, especially when for the people of this religion it's a very sacred thing. But obviously it's the Met Gala, because now there's so much more in the public eye. I'm sure they wanted a little bit more press attention. First thing we see here is just such an obvious allusion to the Catholic Church. I mean, again, like I said earlier, that it should fit into the sort of costume institute, like avant-garde theme, but at the same time, like, you don't really want to be wearing a costume. Like this, I think is fine. I'm not sure exactly what the headpiece refers to. It's just weird to me that they decided to aestheticize a whole religion. Maybe that's just me because I am someone of a faith background. Like this, I just don't understand this. I hate like graphic prints on formal looks. I just think it looks so tacky, and oh my gosh, this pink trim. Oh my gosh, this is like giving me inner gag. Oh my goodness, I can't. Like I really don't like this look. I'm sorry. Okay, let's just move on. It is nice to see more ethnic diversity. If you see on this picture, it's not even a red carpet anymore. It's like a beige carpet. I guess they realized a lot of people wanted to wear red. Some of these outfits, it's either like so over the top Catholicism with like very obvious symbols, or it doesn't have a whole lot of reference. I really do think with this theme, yes, you could be extremely creative, but also you could just kind of throw a cross onto the outfit and call it a day. And then the most recent pre-COVID Met Gala labeled camp notes on fashion. Not like summer camp, which is what I thought when I first heard this theme, but it's like this sort of fashion term, camp. It means like very extravagant, very over the top, fashion of all fashions. So I guess the theme is fashion. Basically, it's just like pure avant-garde. Maybe like the fashion world had some sort of prophecy that this was gonna be like the pinnacle of the Met Gala before COVID happens, and it's really supposed to be like over the top. And I do kind of feel like this is what the Met Gala is supposed to be about. To me, this kind of style is very exciting. Obviously, we have Lady Gaga pulling all the stops, very out there. Oh, Jared Leto. This gown almost looks like it should have been from the Heavenly Bodies. Maybe it's just like this beard, like this Jesuit look that's like giving off this vibe for me. Oh my goodness, is he carrying... Oh my gosh. This is like a reference to John the Baptist. Now let's just move on. I really just feel like the 2019 one is kind of like a throwback to all the other ones. It was basically like a free-for-all. Anyone could just pick and choose a theme from the previous years because it's just such a broad range and it's something that can be interpreted in so many different ways. So as you can see, it's like very over the top, which is kind of what the theme was asking for. Honestly, I can see how like this would be a very fun Met Gala to attend. Like mermaid, Nicki Minaj. This is giving off Nicki Minaj vibes. Overall, just seeing everything from the previous Met Galas, I genuinely don't feel like this year's was necessarily the worst. It's not great, but I think generally, just being objective here, there have been bad looks in every single Met Gala. And even though it might seem like there's an abundance of bad looks in this one, I think it's just because people didn't really follow the theme as well as they could have, considering how broad and how easy of a theme it was and how explicitly they could have expressed it. But I think in every year, in every Met Gala, there have been people who just didn't follow the theme or didn't like express the theme very well. I think the reason that this year's Met Gala is getting a lot of shade for not following the theme or like just kind of falling flat is because the theme is something that's very relatable and accessible in terms of knowledge by a mainstream audience. And because in 2021 now, post-COVID times, the Met Gala is even more available than before to the mainstream audience through social media. It's like there was a lot of hype, there was a lot of expectation, especially compared to the most recent Met Galas that just went all over the top. And honestly, like I don't think all of the looks were that bad. Like I think there were some pretty standout pieces. I really like Tessa Thompson's look. I think that this is such a gorgeous and modern take, a red carpet take on the Western style. And I say this because I really hate Western fashion. I think it's horrendous. Like I don't like cowboy hats, cowboy boots, denim, but sort of in the style of Tessa Thompson, she really elevated and took it to a red carpet level. Like this petal detailing on her dress is just gorgeous, and the vertical lines that really accentuate her chest and her neck and the makeup, it really does hit the theme in a way that a lot of people can understand. Like this is a look that the mainstream audience can recognize and appreciate. Another look that I don't think was featured as much is, I don't know his name, but this guy's look in this really nice blazer and pant duo. The color combination is really spot on here. It's sleek, the boots are a nice touch. It's a Tom Ford outfit, which kind of may seem like a cop-out way of paying homage, but honestly, considering how many of the people didn't even wear American designers, I do think that it's a nice touch. Like this look is gorgeous. And I know like she's so young, but I think they gave her a look that's actually not super overly sexualized, but actually like classy and elegant. Oh, I also love this look in the background. I wonder who this is. This orange dress? I love this. I love the color. Like honestly, if I look at a lot of the looks that weren't featured in like popular media, I really like some of these looks. I don't think these are like the worst things ever. Like this Tory Burch dress, I think this is gorgeous. It's simple, yes, and people could call it boring, but I think this color really works well on her, and I love the contrasting stitching. I'm just a fan of contrast stitching in general, but I love the fact that they added it to this very sleek, structured glamour dress and this pockets. Like man, these are some good pockets. Can you believe? I can't believe this is Hailey Steinfeld. She does not look like Hailey Steinfeld at all. Like with this hair and makeup and this sort of look, like I've never seen Hailey Steinfeld do anything other than that like sweet girl next door kind of look. I think just the fact that you can't recognize her makes this an artwork of its own, even though it makes her look like a snowflake. I do wish that I was able to understand a lot more references more directly, just because if the theme is America, you would think that there would be some pretty obvious references. In order to appreciate this Met Gala, you have to like look at all the photos, not just the ones that people want to critique. And I mean, like, I get that this girl didn't seem to like really have any kind of opinion. She just said that it was inspired by Chanel because it was made by Chanel, but just as fashion itself, as a look, I don't have a problem with this outfit. I really like the boots with the sheer overlay dress and the details and her hair. This is like giving me very 1920s kind of vibe, but like elevated. Like even this look, the skirt could have been a little more high-waisted, but I do like the two-piece a lot. So overall, I genuinely think that there are some decent looks from this year. So don't hate all of it without even looking at it. Try checking out the looks first. And honestly, this might just be my opinion because I have very little knowledge about the Met Gala or like the high fashion world, but that was kind of the point of this video. I wanted to give a very first look, unbiased, unfiltered, I mean, it's always gonna be a little bit biased, perspective from someone who doesn't know much about the Met Gala or high fashion. Like, I'm not really that into following high-end designers, so this wasn't meant to be like an informative, knowledgeable piece like a lot of videos that have already been made. I just think that a lot of people have talked about this subject already in that sense, so I wanted to point out just the fact that there have been other problematic themes in the past, there have been other celebrities who never followed the theme, there have been definitely worse looks than the ones from this year. Overall, all of that to say, I guess, don't bash on the entire Met Gala without like actually watching it first, or at least like checking out all the looks, and pick out the ones you like and let me know which were your favorites, least favorites, and if you completely disagree with everything that I said. I enjoy looking at these outfits. I think there are definitely ones that are terrible, but also ones that, oh yeah, like they did follow the theme pretty well. Or if they didn't, it's just overall a good outfit. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed me getting ready. Not really. I kind of gave up on that. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.